glad that you've made the time. I know it's not always easy. I know many of us changed our schedules around for our team calls for this, and we're just so glad that you prioritized this hour of your week, because so many things could have been pulling at that time. Awesome. I see you guys. Fabulous. I see Forward Fitness, Spartan Nation, Bold Fitness, Epic Empire, Heart and Hustle. Awesome. Okay, keep those intros coming. We're going to go ahead and, Wild Brain, that's my team. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this party started, because I want to make sure that we maximize this time together. Hello, I'm Jamie Sheppard, and I have the butterfly in my stomach honor to kick us off. I don't know why I volunteered to go first, because they have been a nervous wreck, but I am excited to do that. I guess that was always me in school, where I was like, I'll just do the project first and get done with it. But we have an awesome lineup from this Tuesday through the end of the year, you guys. I'm sure you've heard all about it, but every Tuesday night we will be going live with other Superstar Diamond leaders of our team, of our network, and sharing some wisdom, some lovely pearls. We do have 2 weeks that will be on Monday nights. It's when they are right before Christmas Eve. So just keep your eyes open for that schedule change in your team pages. So, all right, I still see everyone checking in here, and we've still got space. I think this call max is out of 500, so rally your people and get them here. I'm going to talk tonight about failure and kind of rising up and leaning into this last 2 months of the year. So I've got some slides to keep me focused. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now for that. And I really want to talk about prospering where you're planted. I think that it's really easy to get stuck, get overwhelmed, get unsure about what you want to do with this business, and get in comparison mode. And this isn't the time of the year to really let that take root. This is the time to really lean in and go for it, whatever that goal is. I know right now this is the season where a lot of people are swinging for the fences and pushing. Your teams are pushing for elite, for premier, for team leader. Maybe you're pushing for that diamond goal, and that's exciting, you guys. That is so exciting. It also can feel sometimes, I know, a little defeating for folks who felt like they've given it their all and we're out of time. And guess what? We are not out of time, and that's what I want my big takeaway tonight to be. I have kept, this quote has resurfaced several times in the last couple of months of my life, so I wanted to kick off with that. When is the best time to plant a tree? Well, 20 years ago. When is the second best time? Right now. So you guys have already been planted. You are here because you have been soaking up knowledge. You have been growing as a coach. You've been growing as a leader. And regardless of where you're at in pursuit of your bigger goals, it is time right now to lean in and take that action. A little bit about me. I'm not going to go too much into my story, but I've been coaching for a little over 6 years. Our team, Wild Rain Collective, is a 5-time elite team. I don't have any 2-legged children, but I have a lot of 4-legged children with rescue dogs and cats. I live in Central Oregon in Bend, which is a beautiful high desert destination spot that pretty much half of California has moved to over the last few years. And we have a really fun, dorky, rad, adventurous group of coaches that I get to do this business with. My husband is also a Jamie, and he is a professional para triathlete heading to the Paralympics next year. So we have a pretty busy life with animals and training for triathlon, and we both have opened kind of some local businesses this year as well. And nothing brings me as much joy as this, as Beachbody, as mentoring and training other coaches, and growing this business. I grew up in the military, and I'm pretty much the opposite polar end of the spectrum from my very military family. I kind of ended up being pretty liberal and crunchy. I went to school to be a school counselor. I got my master's in school counseling, and that's what I spent 12 years doing. When I found coaching, or when coaching found me, I was working 80 to 90 hours a week. I was waiting tables nights and weekends. I taught a kids yoga program. And I also worked in public education, which isn't a 9-to-5 check, punch the clock and leave job. It's a pretty all-consuming job. I didn't have any experience with Beachbody. I had never done a home fitness program. I didn't really want to drink a shake. I kind of had all the objections. Yeah, I was so desperate to change my life. I was probably the world's easiest sign up. I just jumped right in. And then I did nothing. But I figured it out. And I want to share a little bit of that story with you guys tonight, because I often feel and believe that if I could figure this out, who came in with no social media, I came in with no business background and with no confidence really, or a success story, and just failed my way forward and continue 6 years in to fail my way forward, even as a 5-time elite coach and leading a 5-time elite team and a superstar team. I feel like my common denominator is that every single success check mark has been because I failed my way into it. And so, but yet I spent most of my life before coaching avoiding things that I felt like I would fail at. I didn't say yes to things that I wasn't confident I would be successful in. I really avoided getting out of my comfort zone in ways that made me too vulnerable, too exposed, too at risk of falling flat on my face. And now the person that sits in front of you is someone who runs towards failure, runs to those out of my comfort zone, is the first to tackle that so that I can be the one to teach others. And fail first, fail forward, and fail often is kind of one of my favorite mantras. So I know I'm talking to a lot of great leaders out there, and I know I'm talking to some brand new coaches. And I also know that many of you are kicking butt. Some of you might have even locked in a lead already this year, and that's awesome because I have not. But I am going to speak, and there'll be value in this call for all of you. But my message is primarily tonight to those of you who are out there, fearful friends who are sitting there in fear, inaction because you're afraid of what others might think, you're afraid of failing, you're afraid of everything. Limited Linda. Those are those of us who are sitting there with limiting beliefs, who have already talked ourselves out of this, who don't believe we're capable of any of these things we truly want. Toxic Tina or blaming Brenda, those are the ones who are out there comparing, pulling others down, wishing they had a different upline, a different team, a different set of circumstances. I wish I had a strong leg. I wish I had a this or that or the other. And instead of just putting on your big girl panties and working anyways, you're stuck in this toxic blaming mode. Or stagnant Susan. This is those of us who are what I call a reservoir of information, the ones who are constantly doing trainings, constantly watching other coaches' stories and videos on the champions page and other teams' team calls, yet not doing their vital behaviors. So you're stuck. So that's who I'm really talking to right now. And if this isn't you, I bet you will have someone on your team that you are in charge of mentoring and coaching and supporting that might fit this category. Or maybe this was you at one point, and you can kind of self-reflect and grow. The reason why I want to talk to you is because you've already decided that you're not going to be successful. You've already decided somewhere that you've got a plan B, that you don't really need this. You've got one foot out the door. You made up that mind already, but you're still here because you're still going through the motions. You said you'd be here in a year. There's still part of you that wants this. So I'm going to challenge you tonight to change your mind right back. Okay. And we're going to go through how to do that, but that's where my challenge to you is: change your mind right back, because you don't have to be this person. I can tell you that fearful Fran, limited Linda, toxic Tina, blaming Brenda, and stagnant Susan is never going to be rockstar Rosie or superstar Sally or whoever. You have to work through this before you can get through the other things that we're going to talk about tonight. But you have to commit and be willing to do that first. If you've already made up your mind you're not going to be successful, and you've got your fingers, proverbially in your ears going, la, 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 you don't have anything relevant to say to me, then that's going to be the truth. So take them out of your ears, open your heart, and ask yourself, how is that working for you? Is being this way getting you happier, healthier, more successful? I guarantee it's not. Okay? So let's try something new. I want you to take, actually, I'm not going to show that slide yet. I want you to everyone to take just a hot second in the chat and put, what failures have you had in this business? Current, past, somewhere in between. What have you failed at in this business? You can put one thing, you can put 5, whatever comes to mind is a brain dump. I love it. I love the honesty here. Go ahead and look at what other people are sharing too. You're failing at inviting, you're failing at Success Club, you're failing at never getting to elite, failing at taking action, dropping your rank. Look at this, you guys. So many people. Now, keep going, but ask yourself, have you ever had any of these failures and felt like you were alone? Like you're the only one who probably is struggling with this, and everyone around you is being successful, right? We suffer in silence, but every single one of us have felt these things. So I made this list a while back about failure in our world, right? You know, we go through life, many seasons of life before we ever get to Beachbody and expect that failure is going to come. We expect that we're going to struggle in school at times. We're going to have hard days at jobs. It's going to be hard parenting sometimes. Like, we don't go and run and hide and give up when things are struggling in other aspects of our life. But somehow, somewhere, because of the personal aspect of owning our own business, when there's this failure piece, we let that become our identity sometimes. And so I made this list, and a lot of what you guys just put in the chat is on this list, you guys. But this isn't your list. This is my list. This was a list that I created when I sat down and said, what are all the things I failed at in this business? I've had unsupportive partners. I have had coaches cancel. I have missed Success Club. I was not a success starter. I couldn't get my family to drink a shake to save my life for several years. I struggle with social media. I've had challenge groups flop. All of it. This is my list. But it didn't ever define me, and I never let it stop me or hold me hostage. And you can choose to do the same. What I want you to know is that no one here is rooting for you to fail. I had this thought earlier today as I was like feeling really nervous about leading this call, and I got really kind of anxious in my tummy, and I was like, these are my peers. These are some of the women that have taught me how to do this business that I've looked up to from the very beginning, that I admire more than anything in the world. And I'm like, well, they're not rooting for you to fail, James. They're going to be supportive no matter how much you flub up or if this goes perfectly or not. And I believe that this is such a universal truth for our entire business. No one is rooting for you to fail. You've got this champion, this 300 people plus everyone else not on this call rooting for your success. How amazing is that? So whatever you're coming into this call with, let it go. Forgive yourself for it. Give yourself grace for it. Commit from this point forward to stop being a river, to stop being a reservoir, and then be a river. Those tiny drops of rain are what carved the Grand Canyon, you guys. Be a river of information and carve out the reality you want for yourself. And commit to failing forward. Failure is going to be inevitable. It is absolutely going to happen, okay? And you have to fail forward. Not next year, right now. The action, the work, the effort, the showing up, the energy, the pizzazz, it all has to start right now. And what if you did start right now? What if you did let go of all that and you just went all in and you failed forward, you failed first, you failed often, and you grew that rhino skin? What if any of these things happen? What if you quit your full-time job? What if you led your life with positivity and gratitude every day? What if you drank your shake every day for the next year and you were the healthiest you've ever been? What if you hit those rank goals and you hit those financial goals and you changed the life for your family? What if? Could you imagine? And when you can't imagine or we get stuck, there's a difference between, it's where our mindset gets stuck, right? It's either in a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And you're one or the other. It's a black and white thing, in my opinion and in my belief. And a lot of people that are stuck, that let those failures identify them, that let them crumble them, that let them crumble them ourselves. We're stuck in this fixed mindset. Okay, it's static. It will not change. It's locked down. It is going to go through life avoiding failure, trying to look smart and hide the fact that you don't have all the answers, so you might just lie or BS your way through it. It's going to avoid those challenges. You're going to stick to what you're comfortable with. Anytime someone gives feedback or criticism, it's like the end of you, and you don't ever change or improve. You guys, this was me. I used to think, I didn't think it was, but this was me before I started coaching. And coaching has given me this, the most transformative piece of this business for me has been what it's done for my mind and my outlook and how I move through the world. And I actively choose a growth mindset every day. And that looks like constantly learning, confronting uncertainty, embracing challenges, failing courageously, putting a lot of effort in to learn, and taking feedback and criticism as an opportunity to grow and do better. I actively crave feedback now because I know that it's going to be the thing that helps me do better the next time for you, for myself, for my family, for my team. And it's a belief that my potential is unknown, it's limitless. And you can choose, you guys. You can choose right now. Do you want a fixed mindset or growth? Put it in the chat. I have a growth mindset. If you want an active, like, belief system, like, own the growth mindset. State it in the affirmative. State it in the present. Even if you're not there yet, actively own that by starting to train your brain right now. I see those chats coming. Good job. Keep it going. And here I was, 2 months into coaching, 6 years ago, my first Super Saturday. And I felt like a big fat failure. I had never helped anyone get signed up. I hadn't hit Success Club. I actually didn't even know what Success Club was at the time. I hadn't done any programs. I'd flunked out of T25. And I, 2 days before, had said, I don't know if I'm meant for this coaching thing. How much time should I give it? But yet I showed up. I came to Super Saturday. I opened my heart, and I'm not a quitter. And I chose from that day forward to look at every step I took forward as a success, as a step forward towards the goals that I wanted, as a catalyst to set goals, because I didn't know how to do that. But yeah, I came into that with this idea that I had already defined my failure. I'd already, like, limited my success abilities to this. But yet I was showing up. So instead of looking at that, I said, good job showing up, even though you felt like this today. Good job leaning in and opening up to this opportunity, this community, even though you didn't think you would fit in. And that's how we can retrain that in an instant. I already kind of said those failures on this list were the failures that I have. And it's not just one time. These are failures that I still experience. And so growth mindset looks like, instead of saying, I made a mistake, mistakes help me learn. Okay, this is too hard. That's okay. This may take some time and effort. Instead of saying giving up, I give up. Say, let me try it a different way. Change your words, change that message in your mind, and you will change your mindset. It has to be you doing it, though. You are driving your ship, right? You're the only one that can control that messaging in your brain. And tapping into that neuroplasticity, our brain is this flexible, awesome creature, this muscle that you can retrain just like any other muscle in your body by that, how you're feeding it. So make that choice. So I wanted to tell you guys a story, and this is what kind of was the impetus for me taking this topic tonight. Was my first year taking our team elite was back, my first full year of coaching was 2014. So I started in August of 2013 and just jumped right in. February we hit diamond, and I don't know if you can really see these numbers, but I'll just break it down to you. This is what our old point system looked like. But by March of that year, I was ranked 483. I was a diamond coach, and I had 12 elite points. At Summit that year, after Summit that year, I had achieved 2-star. I was still diamond, and I had 88 points. So I had a lot of growth around Summit. We had some people came to my first Summit, but I still wasn't quite there. About a month or two later, I got to 2-star diamond, and I was feeling really good. I was feeling really optimistic. All year long, from March on, I had said, we're going to be an elite team. I want to be an elite coach. I didn't know what that meant, but that first year, I just knew that that was a big, important goal. And so I just threw it out there in the universe, and I said it out loud. Anytime I was on a team call, anytime I was around someone that knew what it meant, even sometimes people that didn't, and I stated that out loud and put that into the universe, even though I didn't even know what I was doing to get there. It was in August that Keyshawn Graves called me from corporate for that first time and said, okay, so let's get to know you because you're doing great. Now, I was feeling pretty awesome that August. I'd gone full-time coaching, and I was feeling really excited about what I was going to do. I was moving from Portland, Oregon to San Diego, which is something I'd always wanted to do. Retired from school counseling. It was a pretty great year. And shortly after, we hit 2-star diamond. And then very shortly after that, one diamond dropped, and then the other diamond dropped. So I'm sitting there saying, we're going to be an elite coach. I'm going to be an elite coach. We're going to have an elite team. And I'm sitting at diamond with 2 fallen diamonds. Again, a failure that I thought was all my fault. It like wounded my soul. I was walking around like, big crybaby thinking I had done something wrong and I didn't understand how they could have let this happen to themselves and blah, blah, blah. Doug Moss comes into San Diego to have a little one-on-one, and I sit down saying, I'm going to be an elite coach this year. And he looks at my report and he goes, so you're diamond. You've got the points, but I just don't know that it's going to happen. I mean, you could, I guess. And he didn't say I couldn't do it, but I walked away from that call with a fire lit when I feeling like I had something to prove. Has anyone ever felt like that where you're like someone doesn't believe in you and you're like, that's just going to stoke my fire even more? So that was the beginning of November, you guys. That was this time 5 years ago. This week, 5 years ago. Fallen 2-star diamond saying, I'm going to be an elite coach. We're going to be an elite team. And I knew that I had to wake up Thanksgiving morning, 5-star qualifying, and holding that to the rest of the year in order to hit that goal. Now, you guys, we did it. We ended that year 6-star diamond team, 254 elite points, and I don't know what rank we were in the company, 87 in the company. Again, that was 5 years ago, but it took me committing after that, walking away from that meeting with Doug Moss, going, okay, I'm going to have to figure out what I need to do. I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to be relentless about this. I'm going to break down exactly kind of what that took and how this would apply and what this would mean to you. Because I went into this just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what stick, but it didn't, and it got me to that point, but it wasn't until I kind of cranked it down and got really focused and specific on what I needed to do with my team in order to get there. And that's where a lot of you guys are at right now, right? You've said all year you have these goals. I'm not saying they're elite. I'm not saying they're premier. There's no right or wrong. Whatever your goals are, what I want you to know is it's not time to back off from them. It isn't time to give up on them. This is the time to show the universe, to show your team, to show your followers, to show yourself that you mean what you say when you set those goals. And you can move mountains in such a short amount of time in this business with that belief and that effort. So what it'll take is positivity, power, professionalism, persistence, patience, trusting the process, productivity, preparation, and passion. I'll go through this a little bit. Before I do that, are you guys still with me? I can't really see your faces. Thumbs up if you guys are still with me. Okay, or put it in the chat. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go into this. I'm going to go through these fast because they're not super hard. You guys are basically doing the 4 vital behaviors, but doing them with a specific energy. Positivity. If you're going to go into the next 2 months going, oh, I tried my best and it's too bad we didn't make it, you've already given up. You've already phoned it in. Go into this with this positive attitude that faith it till you make it, not fake it till you make it, faith it till you make it, and go into this as if you've already reached that goal so that everything that you're doing is going to carry you to it. That might mean that you have to hook up that personal development IV and listen to that all the time. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be hurdles. There's always going to be the suck in life and in business. It is completely up to you how you deal with it, how you respond to it. I went to New York City for a seminar in June, and it was super excited. It was going to be a yoga workshop, and we're going to do photo shoots and all these fun things. And I had all this whole luggage full of cute clothes. I was spending the weekend, a couple of days in New York City and going shopping and seeing plays. And guess what? My luggage never made it there. I had planned, which I'm not a planner, all my New York City outfits, my yoga workshop clothes, and they decided to go to Minnesota instead of New York. And I could have been upset. I could have let it ruin my trip. And someone else who her bags didn't also, that I was in the luggage office with in Newark, and they were having meltdowns and this ruined everything. And I chose instead what I call lemonade mindset is okay, we'll figure it out. Guess what? I got to end up going shopping on Alaska Airlines tab. That was kind of fun. New York City shopping spree paid by Alaska Airlines. Flip it. Find those things, and how can this turn be a stepping stone instead of a roadblock? Okay? Protecting that mindset is key. I know there are the folks out there that we love, that are teammates, that are friends, but this is business, okay? We are not here to braid hair and sing Kumbaya and to gossip and be negative. This is, if those people are in your business, if those people are in your life, in your message inbox, you are not going to get your goal if you let them take your time and energy. Protect that mindset. You're here to have success partners and not excuse partners. And if people are filling your inbox and filling your mind with drama and negativity, it will pull you down. You have to put your CEO pants on and set boundaries. Okay? You know what we're talking about. Those are the people that are committed to a fixed mindset, not a growth mindset. And that is where you have to intentionally set that boundary for yourself. Doesn't mean you can't love them and support them, but it doesn't mean they get to be in your car as you're driving. All right, power. What do I mean by power? You have the power. Think of Wizard of Oz. You've had the power all along, my dear. You have the power to do whatever you want in this business, in this life. The only thing you can control, though, is you. How many of us are out there trying to control our coaches and control our clients and control the outcome, all these things that we have no control about? We have control over one thing, that is ourselves. Okay, it is easier to give birth than raise the dead. The best gift you can give to your existing team, whether they're performing or not, is to bring on new people, fresh blood, fresh energy. Think about in real life. You can give birth. You cannot raise the dead. Do the same in your business. How many of you, raise your hand if you are helicoptering coaches that say they're going to do something and never do, and you're just hoping and praying they're going to get to that emerald. If they just do that one thing, then you'll get to where you need to go. And then you've given them all of the control of your destiny. You've given them all the control of your success. Okay? Stay in the front seat, 2 hands on the wheel of your business. And what I mean by make eye contact, while 25% faster, speak up, smile big, own the energy of someone in control of their business. Own the energy of someone that believes in their power. This is, you can just screenshot that. We're not going to dig into it. I'm not going to do a big training on story, but the power is in your story. The power is in the person you're becoming, the person you've left behind into the person you're going into, and the power is in that story and how loudly you tell it. If you haven't read Kendra Hall's book, Stories That Stick, it's a great one to listen to on audio. It'll get you super fired up and excited about telling your story and all the different ways to tell your story. But that is where your power is. Your people are out there waiting for you to tell their story so they can grab hold and they know where to swim to and how to join you. Professionalism. Okay, so this is what I looked at, and this is what I consider every single time. Kendra Hall, stories that I'm putting in the chat. Stories that stick. Okay. I always ask myself, and this sounds really cheesy, but what would Carl do? I didn't come into this business with a lot of experience around what CEOs look like. I came in from public education. A lot of the restaurants I worked at were, if they were privately owned, the CEO was not always the nicest, best person, or they were corporate owned, right? So we just had general managers. The last bar I worked at, I saw firsthand the first time of what a business owner that really believes and cares about their business looks like. Working from dawn to dusk, showing up every day, living this business from home and bringing it. And if you ever pay attention to Carl Deichler, our CEO, and how he behaves in the good times and the not as good times, he will show you what a CEO looks like. And I try to emulate that. He shows up, he leans in, he gets louder, he pushes, he challenges, he leads by example. And not knowing what a CEO looked like with, given my own personal background, I had to look at that success leaves clues. What other successful coaches were doing, what other leaders, like the woman, the other superstar coaches, I learned from them. I learned by studying, watching, listening, and then emulating, duplicating, not just watching and listening. I went and took action and tried that behavior on for size, implemented it myself. Professionalism is like what Carl would do is swing for the fences. He never is going to settle and let us lower our goals. He's always going to challenge us to do better and dream bigger. Pursue mastery, you guys. Do you want a mediocre business? Do you want to be a mediocre leader and then have be a mediocre coach with mediocre success? Or do you want like kick-ass business with kick-ass success, with kick-ass leaders under you? Because you are a kick-ass leader. That means you're pursuing mastery. Okay? Perfect practice makes perfect. Okay? That means practice, you can practice imperfectly and you'll never get anywhere. So make sure you're leveling up how you're practicing. Do better by training yourself, by asking for feedback, by leaning into that growth mindset. Don't be afraid to be imperfect, but be perfectly consistent about showing up. And then this is something that was one of my team has heard this so many times. They are probably think I should get it tattooed on me. But if you're not green and growing, you are ripe and rotting. And that is the energy that I encompass and I want my team to encompass every day. It was something John Addison said at a leadership keynote many, many years ago to us. And that's what professionalism looks like to me. That's what mastery looks like. Always green and growing, never getting stagnant so that we don't become this ripe and rotting fruit. Okay. Persistence. So this is my husband. Again, his name's Jamie. He's a para-triathlete. He's a below-the-knee amputee, and he is headed to the Paralympics next August in Japan for para-triathlon. So that's 3 sports, you guys, 3 Olympic sports. And he has taught me over the last 5 years what persistence looks like. He didn't get a spot in the Olympics 3 years ago like he thought he would, that he worked really hard for. He hasn't come in and medaled in every race he's done. He's gone through hamstring surgery. He's gone through other injuries. He's a diabetic. He is persistent, and he works his A off. He is getting to the Olympics next year because he has not given up. Was he crushed when he didn't get to Brazil? Yes. We got a kitty because of it. Now we have 4. Like, he was crushed. And he didn't ever let him feel those feelings. He processed it, and then he got back to work and he kept training. There's days when I know he's tired and he's beaten down and he's exhausted and his muscles are sore, and I'll be like, just take a rest day. And he's like, Olympics don't happen when you take rest days. And he keeps trying and he keeps pushing. And he's taught me what persistence looks like. And I've tried my best to emulate that in my business. Sometimes we need to rest. That's okay. I do teach him that. But it's the commitment to that goal. It's unwavering, you guys. And it's trusting that the process, trusting that work, the effort, that persistence pays off. It's committing to trusting it. Okay? It's committing to believing that it'll work. Not letting the discouragement set in, not letting a no decide that it's going to define you. Okay? Grow the rhino skin. Oh my gosh, you guys, you might not always like what your uplines have to say. You might not always like the feedback. You might not always enjoy how it feels to be, to get a no or to have someone cancel or to miss a goal. But you can choose to curl up and hide and push everyone away because of it, or you can choose to let that empower you and ignite you. Grow the rhino skin. And then have a plan for your business and your people. What are you funneling them to? If you don't know what you're funneling your person to, they're never going to move towards any other goal. Okay, you have to be the one guiding them. And again, this is just a screenshotable thing, but I love this analogy because think through dating, right? I don't know, maybe some of you still are dating, or the person that, for me, when I was dating, I did a lot of online dating for a while. And there was always the people that it was one date and they're like, I'm going to wife you up. And they're kind of coming on way too hot and way too strong. And it's kind of creepy when they're all of a sudden 1 date in, 2 dates in. Sometimes it's the girl, sometimes it's the guy. And they're like, this is the one. And I'm feeling all these feelings that are super strong, right? That anyone know that person or have experienced that, or that person that's a date in and you've already mapped out the wedding and the wedding bells, versus the couple that's been dating for 8, 10, 12 years and the proposal never comes. There's both ends. Were any of you guys one or the other? Sometimes sure there's that love at first sight, but either way, generally neither one of those extremes work. So the process needs to be that sweet spot of that courtship. Building that connection, just like you would in a romantic relationship, building that trust, that takes time, and then the proposal comes. Do you want to go on a date with me? Do you want to get married to me? Actively agreeing to participate, right? letting there be some excitement, that, and then going through the continuum. So what does that look like in our business? Okay, building that connection, that's the online or the in real life connection, that letting that relationship grow a little bit, build some trust. They're watching you on your stories, they're watching your social media. The invite comes, do you want to join my group? Would you like to consider, have you considered being a coach? Yes, I have considered it. Yes, I would like to learn more. That's the agreement to participate, getting excited about it. Okay, then they make the investment to say yes. They buy the challenge pack. They join a group. Then comes the success. You help them get success, see results, whether that's in moving their business forward or doing their program. And then that success turns into advocacy, being excited, sharing this with others, and then paying that forward by recruiting others, by repeating the cycle. So that's what I mean by, what are you funneling people to? You're funneling people to this outcome, product advocate and recruiting. But you can't go from, hey, thanks for watching my story, now be a top coach on my team. You have to go through the process. Trust the process. Productivity, again, it's the vital behaviors, you guys. But what isn't a business building activity? Okay, your goals are not going to happen unless you're showing up to do the work. If you're in inaction, if you are stuck in inaction, fear, false evidence appearing real, you're not doing business building behaviors. It also isn't scrolling your newsfeed and watching other people's stories. It also isn't too much training. It also isn't gal palling with your team all day in Messenger. If your Messenger is busier with other coaches than it is with prospects, then that's a problem. Okay, and it is not thinking too much and being in analysis paralysis. What it does look like is inviting others to learn more about your business, building relationships with new people every day, inviting other people to join you, whether it's in a group, a sneak peek, an opportunity call. It is getting your people that do say yes started right, giving them the tools for success and the action steps to get started. It is providing amazing customer service, welcoming them, orienting them, and getting them to work, okay? It is using social media every day to add value freely, to find your tribe and connect with your audience. It is those 4 vital behaviors, and it is sharing your results. Results are key. If you're not getting results and you don't have anything to share, then you're not building that trust. So tell that story. I guarantee you have results to share. And that's not, is any of that impossible to do? Those are so easy, right? We overcomplicate it so much, but all of these things are just you getting out of your comfort zone and connecting with someone in some way. Okay, I wanted to share this. We're going to watch a little video. So this event happened in our history when I was a baby. I don't remember it, but there was a movie about it. I think it was called Miracle. It's by Disney, about the 1980 Olympic hockey team. And I really wanted to share it. I'm going to frame this because I don't want to watch the whole thing. So I queued it up a little, but here's what I want you to know about this, because I know everyone's different ages. But we are going to watch about 7 minutes of this video. So what I want you to know is that so in 1980, we were about five years post-Vietnam, right? So we had lost that war. Our country was very divided politically. Jimmy Carter was president. He was not in favor. Patriotism was not at an all-time high. The Iran hostage crisis, where there was 50-something Americans held hostage in Iran. The Cold War was at its peak. Soviets were in Afghanistan, some parallels to where we're at now. I see a lot of parallels. But regardless, this wasn't America was not rah, go red, white, and blue. They were in the Olympics, which were held here. It was in Lake Placid, whereas the Olympics that year. And they were playing. The men's hockey team was just a ragtag bunch of college kids that had been pulled out of hockey teams from all over the country. They'd been playing together for about 7 months, and this was their first time ever performing as a team. They were playing the Soviets, who had never lost in 20 years or something like that. So they were playing this undefeated team of professionals who they did full time forever. That was their career, was playing hockey. So they came into this game, and they, of course, wanted to win, but I think everyone assumed, even Russia assumed, they were just going to cream this. So We're going to watch and talk about this in just a second.
Get off the American defenseman, and the Soviets take the lead 2-1.
We were way stronger. Nobody ever doubted that. We were professionals, and they were just students.
These guys obviously have played together for years and years, and they were a machine.
We had a bunch of college kids, ages 19, 20, 21, taking on this professional team.
You know, if it's only like 3-1, that's about all we can ask for.
I'm sick and tired of hearing about what a great hockey team the Soviets do.
Long shot. With 1 second to play in the period. Right now, the puck goes whistling, but it was stopped at 1 when we looked up and the goal was scored. The United States have equalized. Check that. It looked up to big goal for the U.S. team. 10 more.
Yeah, Russian coach was he took crazy act out and he never coming back in.
Yeah, who was the Soviet Union goalie, and I think universally considered one of the best ever to play the game.
There's the horn. That is the official end of the first period. After it had looked for a fleeting moment as if Heinzel might not allow the goal, he died.
This was so much more than a game, wasn't it? I mean, this was really, I don't think it's an understatement to say this was freedom versus communism.
You knew that game was huge as it was unfolding. You know, the U.S. had no chance to beat the Soviets. The Soviets dominated the play because they outshot the U.S. 39-16.
Up ahead to Malzev. Malzev on a breakaway.
The U.S. trailed 3 separate times.
It was quite thunder. The energy, I think, could have sustained for 9 periods of hockey.
Soviets take the lead in the second period, and they outshoot the U.S. in the second period, something like 15-3.
The Lifton tested only once thus far. The Americans with perhaps their final rush on this power play opportunity. 13 seconds left in the penalty. They shot it.
The country was looking for something to rally with.
Down there for earthquakes. That may have been rockier than San Francisco.
And all of a sudden it's 3-3 and the place is going crazy.
What are we seeing here? Can this really be?
Well, here's where the game becomes a little bit painful. The 1980s have been won.
The sound bleeps out just for a second.
This young team, this fuzzy cheek group. And it's just to bring everybody together in a way. It kind of galvanized the country and made you want to have your television set.
Now we've got Bedlam. Oh, I love quick reaction. That ball coming at the 10-minute mark. Exactly halfway through the period.
The team that had won Olympic gold every time since 1964.
Seemingly no one, certainly not a bunch of college kids, could stop them.
5:46. Remaining in the game, the United States on top.
Tonight, we skate.
4:55 remaining in the third period.
Tonight, we stay with them.
2:25-24.
We shut them down because we can.
That final, I want to say 30 seconds, it was this kind of sporting event.
Johnson over to Ramsey. They let them out. It's set by Ramsey. The final hand is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe it, Dorothy? Yes! The Soviet Union has never seen such scenes in all my life. crazy out there. They're jumping up and down, while the Russians, on the other hand, are just standing quietly at their own doing.
Okay. So I wanted to share that because I think that it like resonated with me with where we're at with this time of year. Now, I'm sorry, I saw a couple of people say it was buffering. I'm not sure why, but I think most of you said it was fine. But the point is that I'm not a hockey person, so but the story is what inspires me, and I feel like it's like the lesson in this, the takeaway in this is that it is about this team effort. They were like, we're at this, low point of energy. Often we get to that point in our teams, and we like the country rallied around this success. There was the opening was when Russia's, like the Soviet Union's mindset slipped. They came into this with like this attitude of like, oh, we got it. And they left this crack, this opening up for like the US to like lean in and take charge of this. I'm going to figure out where my slides are really fast. But I think that for me, the biggest parallels and the biggest lessons is like when you check out, you're going to lose. Like Russia checked out. They checked out mentally. The end of the last second of the first period, they tied it. And as soon as that score tied, that opened up the minds of what the U.S. hockey team could do. And they're like, we've got a chance at this. We could actually do this. But one thing that I didn't actually know until today was that wasn't the Olympic gold win. U.S. had to still go and win one more game. They had to go beat Finland, and they had to win. And so that was like that momentum. That was that catalyst that they built off, and they went and they like won the gold medal at the Olympics. But that wasn't that actual match. That game was not the Olympic game, which I didn't know until today. One of the things that as I was watching that, I'm going to share my screen again, that and some footage at the end of that clip, I ended a little early. They were interviewing some of the Russian, that was 20-year-old video, little documentary, and they had, so it was 20 years ago, they had interviewed some of the Russian players, and they said that, they'd gotten so accustomed to winning that they forgot what it felt like to be like so gleeful. Like they enjoyed watching the U.S. team be so happy and celebrate so hard because it reminded them of what that felt like, because they hadn't felt that way in a long time. But what did it take? It took practice. They had been preparing not for a long time, 7 months. They had to learn how to work together as a team. They kept their head in the game, and they rallied around a common goal, and they had a belief system that they could do it. They had a coach that was pushing them towards this goal who believed that they could do it. And that's really what it takes for us, right? And you've all heard the term, I'm sure, do you believe in miracles? That came from that hockey announcer saying, do you believe in miracles? And one of the clips that I saw from this longer documentary I watched earlier was the coach just said, his mantra to the team was just keep your head in the game, keep playing your game, keep your head in the game. Like that was the guidance. And that's what we need to do. It was just this, I just thought it was so poignant. And it's that passion. It's like that giving that passion and being passionate about what we believe in, what they believe in. They're fighting for gold medal. They're fighting for, but it became so much more than a gold medal. It became something that our country rallied around and celebrated and united over. And I think that we lose sight of the bigger picture of what we can do with this. We have this platform to get healthy, help others get healthy, earn freedom in our life. And that's where it starts, but it can be such a bigger platform to be passionate about. But if you're not excited and if you're not passionate, then no one's going to be excited to join you. That wasn't a game that was like it was live on television. That wasn't kind of done back then. And it wasn't supposed to be a popular event. So everyone watched that in replay. But that got sure enough, after everyone heard about that win, the Finland game was streamed live. It was like, live on television. That you couldn't get tickets to that match. And that's where you have the opportunity to get loud and excited and share that vision loudly with your team. Make sure they know what you're rallying for so they can rally with you. Give them the opportunity. Give your social media following and your family and your local community something to be like a sense of your passion, what you're passionate about, so that they can be excited too. And focus on what brings you joy. I really think that if you do nothing in the next 2 months, be passionate and joyful in this business, and that will, that often that's our strengths. So strengthen those strengths, lean into those strengths, and then be patient with that. Be relentless about it, but be patient and don't let those no's and those little roadblocks discourage you. If you give it your all and you miss that mark at the end of the year, but you go till the clock strikes midnight on the 31st of December, just imagine how much you'll have grown, even if you don't hit it. But I believe that you will if you're locked, ironclad mindset that you will. Okay, be #NoQuitBone. And I wanted to end with this, because to go back to that kind of bigger platform thing, give people something to rally around. Letting Beachbody be that platform, letting Beachbody be that foundation. But this is a collage I made after I pulled all the Oregon coaches last year of causes that they believe in, causes that they're passionate about. If you know me at all, then you'll know that I community service, philanthropy, is really at the core of my mission and what I want to do with this platform. Beachbody is my core, my spine, my backbone. But there's so much that we can do by sharing this with others. It's beyond health, fitness, losing weight, drinking a shake. This is how we can go and we can really move mountains and cause a tsunami effect around the entire world. So my challenge to you and my assignment for you is to cast your vision, to understand where you're heading, what you're fighting for, so that you can get people to rally around. So so your team does know what to show up for, how to support you, how to believe, what they're believing in. So the questions are that I want you to ponder and consider and to work on for the next day is, why are you here? Why did you show up tonight? Why are you here right now? Okay, what negative messages, what's that crap that's running through your head that's holding you down, that's holding you back? What's that negative self-talk? What are those thinking errors that are, for me, I was unlovable, I was unworthy, I didn't know what I was doing, I was never going to be successful, I was always going to be in debt. Those held me down. They kind of held me hostage for a long time. Then ask yourself, what are you fighting for? What are you fighting for with this business? What legacy are you wanting to leave? What are you fighting for your family, for your health, for financial freedom, for your purpose? Okay, and what sacrifices will it take to get there? You're fighting for this. What is it going to take to get there? Is it worth it? What sacrifices are worth it to get there? And my last question is that version of you with the negative crap going through your brain, that bad attitude, that fixed mindset, okay, that's playing through your mind daily, is that version of you capable of getting to those wins? Are you going to win that fight with that attitude and that mindset? If probably not, what needs to change right now? Okay, so thinking through those, cast that vision for the next 3 to 5 years down the road. Write it out. We're going to end this series with a really great vision call at the end of the year, so that's not this, but I think that you really need to know where you're pointing your ship for the next 2 months. And now is the time to work. You're not going to be hitting Success Club. You're not going to be hitting those rank goals on Thanksgiving, you guys, okay? You're just not. People are going to be checked out. They're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving. They're going to be traveling for the holidays. So this week, next week, the following week is when all of that effort, you have to kind of go with that maniac energy, that focused energy, that drive for the next 3 weeks, like you ended last month with, okay, that you would end the year with. So that's kind of what I've got for you. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If anyone wants to share their vision, go ahead and put it in the chat. And maybe end the call with, what is one crappy message, one limiting belief, one negative self-talk belief system that you are going to let go right now, that you're going to go say goodbye with on this call. You're going to leave here in this chat and never think of it again. So there's some really great ones. The Magic of Thinking Big was one of the first personal development books that I read that helps me think bigger, dream bigger. I just had a smaller worldview. I didn't really believe I was capable of those hard things. Go for No And it was a book that I read. It's like you can read it in an hour, but it helps me grow some rhino skin and not be afraid of the nose and not be afraid to go talk to people. There's a new book called Rejection Proof that I've heard is awesome along the same line. I've not read that one yet, full disclosure. Honestly, You Are a Badass is a great one. I've been referring that to coaches that are struggling with mindset more and more recently, because I think it just lights that fire. Same with Girl Wash Your Face, but You Are a Badass really talks about resistance and being tested and letting go of those old stories, so that you can call to action people and challenge them to show up in the arena with you. You want to know who in your team is going to be in the arena with you. And that's where, like, being able to go talk to those people and help them, just set those goals for themselves and then see if they want to link arms with you and run. And then letting go of those folks that aren't showing up and putting action behind it. I think I answered your question, Doro. I love these limiting beliefs that you guys are dropping. Awesome. Let them stay here. And then flip that narrative, reverse that narrative, put that a positive statement and stick it on your mirror, put it on your computer screen, put it as a screensaver or the wallpaper on your phone in the positive and the affirmative, and say it to yourself enough until you've retrained your brain to believe it. Okay. I'm here looking for questions. I'm seeing all these negative beliefs that you're dropping. I'm looking for any questions. If you want to, you can unmute and ask if I'm not seeing it. Otherwise, you guys are free to go. If any leaders have anything you want to add to any of this? If you're wanting leadership, PD, anything John Maxwell has been awesome. And How to Win Friends and Influence People helped me a lot as well. You're welcome, you guys. All right. What topics out of Beachbody should we talk about more to attract people? Amanda, do you want to unmute and explain that a little bit more in detail? I'm not sure I understand the question. Are you still on? Oh, can't because of babies. Well, if you want to type it in the chat, I'm happy to. I'm not sure I understand the question though. Kinley, my advice for a new coach who wants to go all in and start building their team is to get in your inbox and to invite people to join your team. So, and just talk to them. The health of your business, the health of your inbox. And the more people you ask, the more you have the chance to get to yeses. And I think that would be where I'd start. And then publicly, I'd be posting about my business every day. You can make a list of things you love about coaching in your business and a list of things that maybe the objections you had before, the fears you had before that you've grown through. And then start telling those stories. Those are each individual stories. Every single thing on either of those lists, tell those stories, and you'll find those people will attract that. Talk about that in your Instagram stories too. So Amanda, okay, so those that aren't Beachbody related. So I think those would just be the things that matter to you. For me, it's the environment. It's my rescue dogs and cats. It's volunteering at a rescue farm. It's, being outside and being outdoors, being an Oregon girl. It's reading things I love to read. It's just the things that make you you. What are the things that fill up your days, fill up your time? What are your dreams, your aspirations, your goals? Is faith important to you? Tell us about your family. For me, it's traveling. Like, those are the things that kind of make me me, and for lack of a better terminology, like become your brand over time. But talk about your health journey. Talk about your health struggles, how you've overcome them, what your goals are, what your vision for your life is. Talk about your team and the team you're growing. What you're learning every day. As you learn something new of value in your life, share that publicly. And that's okay. Maybe I would start like finding like fun things to do in town. Like, go look on Facebook events. She said that children that she needs more passion. maybe go and find things on Facebook events and start saying yes to things that are out of your comfort zone that you might want to try, like a paint night or a sporting, like, you know, intramural sport, or a political talk, or a book club or something. Yeah, outside your home is good. Or there's a lot of